A few weeks ago, I made a video talking about what I thought was the worst LEGO Star Wars set each year, and today we're going to take a look at what I think is the best LEGO Star Wars set each year. LEGO has made a lot of great Star Wars sets since 1999, and today we're going to take a look at the best of the best. And as always, keep in mind that this is all my opinion. Starting off with 1999, I'm going with 7171 Mos Espa Pod Race. This set was definitely a bang for your buck back in 1999. $90 for 10 minifigures, 4 of them being exclusive, and 3 pod racers was just a great deal back then. The set consisted of Anakin's pod racer, Sebulba's pod racer, and Gascano's pod racer, which were all 3 very movie accurate for back in 1999. 1999 was a pretty great start off year for LEGO Star Wars overall, but I think this set definitely stands out from the rest. Moving on to 2000, I'm going with 7155 Trade Federation AAT. Now this AAT was just years ahead of its time. As a matter of fact, 22 years later, I think it's still the best version of the episode 1 AAT we've ever gotten, and it's definitely right up there with the 2009 Clone Wars version. If you didn't know, the front round pieces are completely printed. Nowadays LEGO would just do stickers, but it seems like back in the early years they put a little bit more effort into their sets with what they had. You might say that the MTT that came out this year is better than this set, but it is not as movie accurate as this is. This set was just leagues ahead of all the other ones, and it was just way ahead of its time. Moving on to 2001, I'm going with 10019 Rebel Blockade Runner, and wow, what an impressive set for its time. This set is absolutely massive, having 1,747 pieces and being 28 inches long, and it also had a retail price of only $200 for that scale. Now the only downside is that this set doesn't have an interior or anything like that. It also doesn't have any minifigures. The stand, or if you want to call it a stand, is just 2 of the normal like LEGO display pieces, but really what else could LEGO do? This set is massive and it definitely can't support its weight on its own. Anyways, despite these 2 minor flaws, I think this set still definitely holds up in 2022. Moving on to 2002, I'm going with 7163 Republic Gunship. Now as many of you know, this was the first Republic gunship ever released. It was part of the first wave of episode 2 sets, and its age definitely shows. As you look from the side, the set does look kind of warped a little bit. Now I don't want to say warped, but it looks a little elongated, and the 2 cockpits don't really flow into the rest of the ship. But other than that, this set is pretty nice, and it's pretty iconic too, and it's definitely gained a lot of popularity recently. One main highlight for this set is the minifigures, especially Jedi Bob and the 2 Pearl battle droids. If you don't know, this was the only set that those Pearl super battle droids came in, and the only set that Jedi Bob came in. You also can't forget the 2 original Phase 1 clone troopers. These are extremely iconic, and I wish LEGO made more of them back then, but they only came in 2 sets, unfortunately. Now 2003 was a pretty hard one, but for the best set this year, I'm going with 4482 ATTE. Now this one is pretty hard because there were a lot of great sets that came out this year, but I'm going with the ATTE again because of those amazing original Phase 1 clone troopers. The build itself, as you can see, is not super accurate to the actual ATTE. I mean, it's pretty short and flat. It kind of reminds me of like a centipede or a caterpillar. I think if LEGO just made the legs a little bit longer and maybe the body just a little higher, this set would be golden. But nevertheless, this build does look really good and it's pretty iconic, and also I really like how you can fit the speeder that it comes with inside the actual body of the ATTE. And then again, like I talked about with the gunship, those Phase 1 clone troopers are just amazing. Moving on to 2004, the year I was born, I'm going with 10131 TIE Fighter Collection. This is definitely one of the coolest LEGO Star Wars sets LEGO has ever made, and I really wish they do something like this again. I guess its closest comparison would be like the A-Wing versus Darth Vader's TIE Advance back from like, I don't even know, 2016, 2018 maybe. But a set that just comes with 4 individual fighters is awesome, and one of them is straight from Legends, being the TIE D fighter, or the Droid fighter, which is what LEGO calls it, and this was actually the first time that LEGO included any type of Legends content into one of their sets. If you don't know where the TIE D fighter originally came from, it appeared in Dark Empire 3. If you don't know, the Dark Empire is a novel series that came out in the early 90s that is based after Return of the Jedi, and the series introduced a lot of new ships and fighters. And I'm actually really happy LEGO included something like this in one of their sets. I don't know what prompted them to do this, but I'm really glad they did. Moving on to 2005, this one is kind of a no-brainer, but I'm going with 7261 Clone Turbo Tank. This is easily the most iconic episode 3 set ever made, especially those original Phase 2 clone troopers, which are absolutely amazing, and you get a huge variety of them in this set. And then of course you have the fan favorite Scout Trooper, which is pretty rare nowadays. The build itself is really great too. It gives me a lot of nostalgia. I think the main reason being that it uses those tires that came from the old Rock Raider sets, which kind of just screams that this set was made in the early 2000s, which was kind of like the start of the golden decade for LEGO Star Wars. For 2006, I'm going with 6209 Slave One. In my opinion, this is the best playset version of the Slave One we've ever gotten. If you exclude the UCS version that came out in 2015, I think this is the best version of the Slave One we've ever gotten. It had 537 pieces and was only $50. It included 5 minifigures, 3 of them which were exclusive, being Dengar, the Bespin Guard, and IG-88. And the build itself is extremely accurate, and I don't really talk about this much, but I love the box art too. All of it really just screams the idea of Cloud City and The Empire Strikes Back and kind of just like throws it in your face. Moving on to 2007, this one is definitely a no-brainer. I'm going with 7662 Trade Federation NTT. I mean, really, what else could you want for in a set? This set is absolutely flawless. It has 1,330 pieces and only retailed for $100, which made its price per piece only 7.5 cents. And if that wasn't enough, it comes with 21 minifigures, 16 being the normal B1 battle droids, then 2 battle droid pilots, 2 battle droid securities, and then 1 droideka. This is widely considered to be a top 3 LEGO Star Wars set of all time, and honestly, it's one of a kind. I don't think we're going to get a set this good again anytime soon. Moving on to 2008, I'm going with 7676 Republic Attack Gunship. This is definitely a fan favorite, especially for Clone Wars fans, because this was the start of the LEGO Star Wars Clone Wars era. This set is absolutely amazing. It is a huge upgrade from the 2002 gunship. The only downside, in my opinion, which I think is actually kind of a major downside, is that one, they only included 1 clone trooper to fly the actual gunship when there's very clearly 2 cockpits, and 2, they didn't include clone pilots. They instead included just a normal phase 1 trooper. And we all know they did have clone pilots back in 2008 because 1 came in the V19 Torrent. I don't know why they didn't put 1 in this set, much less 2, but other than that, this set is absolutely amazing and definitely iconic. Now moving on to 2009, oh my gosh, who could have guessed? I'm going with 10195 Republic Dropship with AT-OT Walker. Yes, this is probably the best LEGO Star Wars set ever made. A play set including 2 separate vehicles that could probably be $100 sets on their own, and retailing for $250 and having 8 clone troopers. A set like this was definitely unheard of in 2009, and it's definitely still unheard of today. This set and the MTT I just talked about are probably the top 2 LEGO Star Wars sets ever made. Moving on to 2010, I'm going with 10212 Imperial Shuttle. This is definitely one of the most elite UCS sets ever made, and in my opinion, I think this is the best LEGO Star Wars set ever made for display. It's just absolutely ginormous and very detailed and very movie accurate. The minifigures aren't so much to talk about, but the build itself definitely makes up for that. Moving on to 2011, I'm going with 10221 Super Star Destroyer. This set is an absolute behemoth, and as a matter of fact, it's actually the longest LEGO set ever made to this day. It has 3,152 pieces and it's 50 inches long. If anyone watching has this set, I can imagine that this is an absolute pain to display or even just store, but excluding that, this set is an absolute masterpiece. Moving on to 2012, this might surprise quite a bit of you, but I'm going with 10227 B-Wing Starfighter. In my opinion, this is the most underrated UCS set. I absolutely love the look of B-Wings in Star Wars, especially the LEGO sets, and for LEGO to actually make a UCS one that is displayable is an absolute joy to me. The build itself is extremely advanced. It uses a lot of unique techniques, especially with the cockpit, and then the rest of the ship just flows together so nicely, and it's just a masterpiece for display. The only minor downside is that there's no minifigures, but I mean, the 2010 to 2011 $200 UCS sets didn't really include minifigures, so in this case, I don't think that's a big deal. Moving on to 2013, I'm going with 75021 Republic Gunship. This is clearly the best gunship LEGO's ever made, and yes, I'm even including the UCS version in this one because I did not like that set at all. But anyways, this set looks very clean. It's definitely the most accurate that we've ever gotten. Everything just flows together so perfectly. The minifigures are great too, but again, the same downside that came with the 2008 gunship is that there is only 1 clone pilot. I mean, at least they actually included a clone pilot this time instead of a normal clone, but I mean, why couldn't they just include 2? Other than that, this set is amazing, and I'm pretty sure it too is widely considered to be a top 3 LEGO Star Wars set. Moving on to 2014, as many of you know, I think this was the best year of LEGO Star Wars, and this one was really hard, and I really don't like to do this, but for 2014, I'm gonna have to go for a tie. The 2 sets I chose are probably gonna surprise you guys quite a bit, but the tie is between 75054 AT-AT and 75036 Utapau Troopers Battle Pack. You guys are probably kind of freaking out about this, but I think the AT-AT this year was easily the best AT-AT, well, best playset version of the AT-AT we ever got. It had great minifigures, a great number of minifigures. I feel like it would have been a little better if it just included a Stormtrooper. It has 1100 pieces and it retailed for $110, giving it a pretty good price per piece. The build itself is really nice. It has a great interior and great exterior, and in my opinion, it's easily just the best playset version of the AT-AT we've ever gotten. Now, moving on to the Utapau Troopers Battle Pack. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have picked this if it wasn't for the 212 Troopers that came in the ATTE this year, and oh my gosh, the 212 Troopers we got this year really opened my eyes to how for granted these 212 Troopers were taken. Even though this set was really popular and really talked about back then, and still is to this day, I still think we just took them a little bit for granted. Moving on to 2015, I'm going with 75060 Slave One. I know this is no surprise to any of you guys. Again, this is probably one of the most elite UCS sets ever made. Everything from the box art to the piece count to the build to the minifigures, it's all just a perfect set. And I know everyone knows a lot about this set, so I'm just going to move on. Moving on to 2016, this was a pretty hard year for me between 75154 TIE Striker and 75156 Krennic's Imperial Shuttle. But controversially, for the best set of 2016, I'm going with the TIE Striker. I know a lot of people were saying this set was overpriced, but I think the minifigures and the amount of large pieces makes up for that. And the reason I think this is better than Krennic Shuttle is because the build just looks so mean looking. I absolutely love the shape and design of the TIE Strikers in Star Wars, and I think LEGO captured that perfectly. You also can't forget how it comes with that exclusive Shore Trooper, and it comes with some other great minifigures too. Moving on to 2017, I'm going with 75192 Millennium Falcon. Now I'm gonna be honest, I don't really think highly of this set. I think the fact that it's the biggest LEGO set ever made is kind of just a gimmick in my opinion. There are a few things that disappointed me in this set, being that only 2 of the minifigures were exclusive and it was literally $800, and now it's $850. And then the biggest downside for me about this set, which I think is really crucial, is that there are no hallways. It's literally just the entrance to the hallway and then a sticker. And with this set being this size and this detailed and this price, I think that was really the least LEGO could have done. But honestly, I really did have to put it at the best set for this year because the exterior is absolutely amazing. The detail is incredible. And I mean, it really is the biggest LEGO set ever made, which I still think is a gimmick, but I mean, it's still impressive. Moving on to 2018, this is definitely going to be controversial and I know you guys are going to disagree with me, but I'm going with 75211 Imperial TIE Fighter. This is easily, without a doubt, the best TIE Fighter LEGO's ever made. The minifigures are absolutely incredible. Every single minifigure is exclusive, which back in 2018, this was just so out of the blue and so unexpected for 4 exclusive minifigures in just a $70 set. And they're not only exclusive, they're also great looking minifigures too. And the most popular, of course, being the Mimban Stormtrooper. The build itself is absolutely amazing too. It's definitely the most accurate TIE Fighter LEGO's ever made, and it's also pretty much 100% minifigure scale. Moving on to 2019, this one's definitely a no-brainer, but I'm going with 75252 Imperial Star Destroyer. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this set because you guys already know all about it. It's just a behemoth. It looks absolutely amazing. It's amazing on display. It's intimidating. LEGO just really did a great job and they went all out on this one. Moving on to 2020, I'm going with 75290 Mos Eisley Cantina. This set is honestly just a must-have. It's literally a modular building of the Mos Eisley Cantina. And I'm gonna be honest, I never expected LEGO to make this. It has 21 minifigures, 9 of which are exclusive to this set, and it has 3,187 pieces and it retails currently for $400. This set is just amazing. It has every detail you can imagine inside the building, and you really can just recreate every scene that happened inside the cantina. Moving on to 2021, talk about sets that I thought LEGO would never make. I'm going with 75313 AT-AT. Now the topic of a minifigure scale AT-AT has literally been talked about for the past decade or more. And every time I heard someone mention it, I'd always think to myself like, oh no, there's no way this would ever happen. LEGO would have to use so many pieces and the set would be so expensive to be at least $1,000. But in 2021, they did just that and they made a minifigure scale AT-AT with 6,785 pieces and retailing for $800 to start and now $850. This set really is the pinnacle of minifigure scale UCS sets. It's just absolutely massive. It's a 1-to-1 scale. It has a full interior, full exterior. Everything is just flawless. Every time I look at this set, I'm honestly just speechless. Moving on to our final year, which is 2022, I'm going with 75331 the Razor Crest. This set just came out last month and it's absolutely incredible. I think it's the best set of 2022 by a long shot. The build looks great, although there is a lot of gray on it and there's a lot of stickers. I still think the build looks amazing. The minifigures are great too, minus the Mirthal not having a molded head, which I think is kind of weird that LEGO didn't do that. But I mean, wow, what a great way for LEGO to conclude 2022. Alright guys, that's gonna be all for this video. Let me know what your favorite set was each year, and if you disagree with me, make sure to voice your opinion in the comments. If you're new, please subscribe if you feel like it, and consider checking out my other content too. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.